Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another conversation Sunday sitting with sisters. It is your sister Ro Osunleke, and I'm joined by my blood sister, my sister Khadijah. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing great. What's up, Facebook land? How is everyone out there on this great Sunday? Hey, how
Well, I
was your
feel
day, Sissy?
great,
How was
sis.
your
It's
last
been a
week?
lot of things. It was, everything's good. Everything's moving right along. So I'm just feeling grateful to wake up and still be here and still in my right mind, making great
That
decisions.
part.
Had some interesting conversations with people this week, and we're gonna discuss a little bit of the U.S. population and just. I just think we need to have a definition of this word classism and colorism because a few black people don't really know what that means.
Mm,
We're so dismissive of it. But I think with this thing with the vice president has really shown the class and colorism issue we have inside of the black world that we want to act like white people don't see or other cultures don't see. Matter of fact, they see it so much, some of them have used it to their advantage. There was a video of a man who basically made himself black to get into medical school. He was Indian. And when he
mm.
got in, he graduated. Now he's Indian again. So I think we really do have to talk about
Eee.
colorism and classism, even though he was top ranking because he had great test scores, but he got in immediately when they said he was black. So, but he was an Indian, and we know most Indians do not consider themselves to be black people. Let's just keep it all the way a buck.
Real talk. We need
But I
that.
think we have to really talk about class and colorism and not from this dismissive place. We got to stop dismissing other black people's experiences because maybe you're guilty of being a colorist or maybe you're guilty of being a classist. Maybe you're really guilty. Some of the shit I hear black people say and white people say that we be calling them a racist.
Hell yeah.
But for some reason, when
Absolutely.
we just want to act like it's okay. Like it's my right to do that. Just saying. So we'll talk about some of that along with all the other stuff we're gonna discuss, right? But what's your thoughts, Sissy? How was your week?
My week was actually excellent. I'm looking forward to the week ahead. Have a few people I'm catching up with that I've been trying to connect with for a while. My last week was pretty good. The week went by super fast to me. It felt like it was Monday, and then the next day it was
Yeah.
Friday. Seemed like I felt like last week zoomed by like super quick, and so time is waiting for no one. Um, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to these topics because I do believe that people have classes and don't even realize it, or don't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
People say a lot of things that come off as classism, but they try to mask it like it's a joke. But yeah, you're fucking clear. You're into classism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're into colorism when you say certain things like she was so light skinned and pretty. So with certain shit that we say, um, we don't even realize we saying it. It's just part of our normal language. And then when somebody check it, that means you're negative. You hate black people. You always pulling out our bad
You're
side when we call
divisive.
somebody on their bull crap. Or you too
Yeah.
sensitive, or
The big word I heard was divisive.
you must have been hurt when you was young, and all that kind of shit. Instead of just saying, "Oh damn, my bad, I should have said that." So yeah, I don't know.
Because we do that with mixed
Looking
people. We
forward
want to
to it.
make sure they're accepted and they're comfortable and that they have a place within the black world. But we don't do that to people who are all black. We try to act like, well, all of us are mixed. That's not my experience, family. Don't, it's like saying we all have a toe. Like, don't nobody give a fuck about that. But I just feel like it's okay to talk about these issues because here's the real truth for me, Khadijah. I get to watch
Hmm.
how classism and colorism impact young people, which is why they feel so comfortable doing some of the things that they do because they got it from us. I heard a young girl say one time, this was years ago, that the only thing the girl had on her that her boyfriend left her for is that she was light skinned. That's the only thing she had on her. And she said that like I agreed with it. And I said, what do you mean by that? And then she started to explain that in the world she's in, your complexion means everything. It depends on how you move in the black world. I couldn't even sit up there and not argue it with her because I knew it was a truth in it. I couldn't tell her how she was feeling wasn't real. I
Hmm.
couldn't tell her that. Like what I look like. I did ask her, like, what do you mean by this, sis? And I already knew what she meant though. That's the other part. I didn't try to act like something was wrong with her because I that's the mind tricks we play on black people. When we act like there's something wrong with you saying your truth. We act like something's wrong with that. Instead of saying, what do you do when black people are colorists? I challenge people. So when somebody say fair skin, I'll be like, what the hell is that? No, I don't know. Do you mean that this person has a fair shot with white people, so they may be better than you? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I call it just the way. Then they be like, no, don't get stuck. Claim that shit. Say, I am a little bit color struck. I do use words that speak against what I am. That's okay. Don't stop telling people they're not educated enough to understand politics. Stop telling people shit like that. That's offensive. Just because they don't believe as you believe, because you drank the goddamn Kool-Aid, you paid for your degrees from these people, and now you look kind of dumb. Now you kind of sound like, I'm telling you, some of the stuff people say, if white people had said it, we'd be calling them all kind of racist ass people. What do we do when black people say the folks that got convicted were they guilty? When we know this system, unequivocally don't give black people the same justice that they give other groups here. But now, because somebody that's like you, who drank the Kool-Aid, who did all the stuff you said you were supposed to do, now you're going to say, were these people guilty? Because that's what white people say when they look at the stats, and they don't think nobody was wrongfully convicted. They're going to say that the person committed a crime. We would call that person a straight out racist. But when we do, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's one of the talking points that you'll hear people say. Well, the person was doing their job. These parents deserve to go to jail because they kids. And I thought to myself, damn, we act like, I know as a kid, my mama sent me off to school and I skipped. Had nothing to do with her because she was going to work. She thought I was at school. Okay. So anyway, I just feel like we have to figure out how to have this conversation. And my thing is, if you're guilty of this shit, I suggest you stop. I suggest you really catch yourself when you start saying classist things to people. I suggest you catch yourself when you're saying colorist words. Look at your practice. Look at why you like certain types of looking people. And is it because of their character, or is it because you want to wake up to somebody that you can see when the light's completely black, when the room's completely black? Just claim that shit. But don't be calling on me to defend you, because that's how the universe works. The very person that you were boo-booing on, you'll be calling on them to defend you. Just saying. That's just my thoughts, Khadijah. But we'll
Good
talk
evening,
about that.
Tasha.
Um, what story do you want to start with first, Sissy?
Whatever you pull up, I'm ready to roll with it.
Okay. Um, I think I would like to start with this. Because I have been watching the Olympics. Black women is killing the game out here in the Olympics. Winning all kind of you know, uh, medals and things. But I seen this, and I do think it's okay for us to have this discussion. I'm down to have any discussion because I think it's enlightening, and I think what you don't want to do in society is make it so that people can't share how they really feel, because then we're not being honest.
Well,
What was
that's
your thoughts about
exactly
this?
um I think it's ridiculous, but the back of what you said, where you don't want to live in a society where people are not free to express themselves. And I hear a lot of people complaining that we're going to be under a dictatorship when that's the exact way you want black people to live right now. And you want to police our opinions, you want to police our perspectives, you want to police what we talk about, what we discuss, as if we're already under dictatorship. So I don't know why people get so upset about a possible president coming up, because they say it's going to turn dictatorship when that's exactly the way black people are already living. We can't really be free about shit that we say about any topic, you know? People you can don't say that. You can, don't say colorist, don't say classism, don't say anything about transgender, don't say anything about politics, don't say nothing about Kamala. Black people are already living under a dictatorship where they are policing our thoughts and our opinions. I think this, good evening, Tina. I think this is ridiculous. I think it's unfair. He should be boxing with the males, regardless of what he identify as. He still has male energy and male force. And he socked the shit out this
Muscle.
lady, and she quit after the first hit and said, "I can't do no more." I think it's unfair for her, for the biological woman, or cis woman, as they like to say, to go through all this time to get into the Olympics just to have a man who couldn't qualify and probably not good enough to fight with the men to come over and dominate that. I think that's bullshit. I think it's unfair. And I feel bad for the lady who fought hard to get to the Olympics. Is not easy to get into. You have to put in some work to get to the Olympics. So for her to put in that work and then have a biological man come in as the opponent, that shit's not cool. Not cool at all.
I agree. I agree. I feel like everybody can get what they need. I think this is the part that cracks me up. I think where the problem comes is when you try to blend into other people's reality. Like I wouldn't have a problem if this transgender person fought another transgender. I think that
I
could
agree.
clear up all the confusion. But for some reason, we just gonna make people your reality their reality. I think that's not fair. I think if a woman is biologically a female, she should have the right and the option to fight another biological female. We can really solve
Hmm.
all this shit. It don't have to be yes or no or this way or that way. I feel like everybody stayed in their lane. I think we will be okay. But for some reason, we don't like to do stay in the lane. We don't like to do let me honor what you are by pitting you with what you are. Like the third bathroom. Like I feel like as a woman, we've been fighting for women rights, and then some man who now wants to be a woman is going to tell you what your right is. That just doesn't seem right.
Because it's
It
not right.
just doesn't seem right. It's kind of like you fighting for your right to be black, and then somebody comes along and tell you that ain't black. Now I'm what black is. That doesn't seem right when you lived your whole life as a black person, and this person became black uh,
Of
overnight.
convenience.
Like y'all don't think that's strange? Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying? I just feel like
Hmm.
everybody could just stay in a lane, and I think we would be okay. If you just joined us, please chime in. We're talking about this particular because I just think it's a little bit crazy to tell people who've been living their life all of this time to now tell them that, um, you know, that's why sometimes you'll hear me say the word womb man because I am a womb man. I'm not, you can have the trans woman title. I'm a womb man. And I want that to be recognized the same way you want that to be recognized. But for some reason, we don't respect that people want to stay in their lanes. You know, I really think this could all be solved if we seen. I would love to see a fight where a trans woman fought a trans woman. I would love to see that because I think that would be so balanced and so equal. And then you don't have to worry about, somebody being, if Mike Tyson got in there with his makeup on and the new hair wrap and all this stuff and claimed he was a woman now, I doubt we would see that. I doubt we would see that. So I don't know. What is y'all thoughts about this? Um, what is y'all thoughts about this? And I think this person looked like she could be this transgender person, like she could be maybe from the Middle East, like maybe Turkey or somewhere. Because I'm looking at her flag and it's the crescent. Um, you know, and I'm saying myself, that's interesting. Because I wonder what country that is, because I'm like, wow, from the Middle East and you a man and now you're a woman. That in itself is like groundbreaking, right? So, because
Hmm.
usually they don't really be rolling like that over in the Middle East.
I
So,
don't know.
I don't know. Just want to know y'all thoughts about it. And I just feel like in order for us to claim that America is this place where we're free, you got to be able to share. Because right now we're coming to the time. See, we talked all that shit about the civil rights movement and people. If I was in slavery, I would cuss the slave. We in that time right now, and most people are scared shitless. because that's what it was like in that time when people had to stand up for themselves and stand up to systems that were lynching us and killing us and whipping us on a tree and all, so all of that toughness we talk about, it's easy to go along with the flow. It's easy to, say I'm just doing my job. Hell, an overseer was just doing a job, when they had to whoop somebody, tying them to the tree, right? But I feel like it's you got to have more courage, and I think you have to tell people, "Hey, I don't really agree with that." But also, there's a way of saying there's a way to do this where everybody gets their needs met. Because for some reason, we're afraid to have that particular conversation. We keep trying to make everybody fit in one box. It's really weird. Yes. Are you frozen, Khadijah?
No, you was
Uh
talking.
oh.
I was just listening. Hmm.
Oh no, I have been stopped talking, but go ahead.
Oh, you're fro. You're going. You're delayed on my end. I think they should have their
Oh,
own
okay.
league respectfully. I agree, Elisa. That's why I'm waiting till you get done because I don't want to cut you off because it's like a lag between me and you. Um, yeah, I agree, Elisa. I absolutely do. And I think people just gotta shut the fuck up and allow people to have their own perspectives. I'm so tired of everybody trying to have the right answer or what I'm saying goes and what I say is right. I'm just that shit is, and that's where this problem is coming in from. People want to be um uh their answer to be correct. I don't know why I keep getting fuzzy, y'all. Why they answer have to be correct and what they say goes, and that's the bottom line. Like everybody just stay in their own lane, do their own thing, and respect people's opinions and perspectives. I put a post up earlier about earlier this well last week about I just kind of refrain from name comment on anybody's political views because now everybody are political experts, everybody are political analysts, everybody are political commentators, and everybody has the correct answer and what everybody should be doing. Hi Tiffany, hi Tanya. And it's crazy to me. And I think people freedom of speech, we it's not Tasha says I can't comment, it's freezing on my end. Yeah, because I see how I keep coming in and out and while Londa's talking, and I can hear her through here, but on the screen is something totally different. So I don't know, something's tripping today, y'all. Um Tasha just inboxed me saying that. But yeah, I just
Okay.
it's interesting. You see, I don't know why I keep going fuzzy. I have no idea.
But I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I can hear you too. I can hear you good too. Um, so and when we were just talking about the transgender, now we're moving over to Massachusetts. Senate passes Bill H4750 to ensure legal. Oh, she says she's going to go out and come back in. Legal parentage
Okay.
equality. It will remove the word father on birth certificate and replace man and woman with persons. It replace mother with person who gave birth. I think that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy because the only person that could give birth is a mother or a woman. So I think that's just retarded and it's crazy. And I feel if this is really legit, I feel bad for all the children coming up. They're gonna be so confused and fucked up with this non-gender, non-binary world they're trying to create. I think it's ridiculous and I think it's crazy. My opinion.
Well, I feel like see again, this is somebody overstepping my rights for their rights.
Hmm.
I feel like if they gave that as an option, like, hey, I want it because I'm a birthing person. I'm not a birthing person. I'm a woman. So
That part.
you could have that on your certificate, but you don't get to tell me that gets to be on my certificate. And I think that's where
Hmm.
the problem comes in that. I feel like if you want to call them persons or whatever, great. But if I had a child, I want her father or his father name on there, and I want my name on there as the mother. I just feel like it's when you try to erase things because you feel like your belief supersedes someone else's belief. That's how I know this world is getting ready to split. And it's probably going to be a violent split. I don't think we're able to split peacefully. We talk that peaceful shit, but I don't think we're able to do it. I just feel like, because when you do stuff like this is a little bit ridiculous, don't you think? Like, how you gonna tell somebody who's been a man or a woman all of their existence since the world has begun, and then you come along and say persons? Like, that
Hmm.
just don't seem right to me. And my thing, I just feel like it should be able, you should be able to do exactly what it is you would like to have done. To me, it's that simple. I don't understand your need to change other people's stuff. I think that's where I'm struggling at. I wouldn't have no problem with you putting that on your birth certificate, but I don't think you get to tell me what to put on mine. And
That
I
part.
really think this is for me, I think this really goes back to the founding of this country when a group of people was kidnapped and you didn't allow them to keep their names or any of their traditions I feel like this is that same energy. It feels like the same energy to me, where instead of you just saying, "Hey, I want to be known as X, Y, and Z," right, on my birth certificate, but now you're trying to tell me I got to do that, and that's why the choice can never be really cut and clear, because I think some of us are starting to see that this other side who wants to act like they're so peaceful and they're so for everybody, they really are pushing a particular agenda that does not include me and you. And somebody has to say that. And that's why you can't bully people into saying things you want them to say. You have to hear everybody's side because maybe you will say, "Hey, maybe this will be an option for those who would like that." But I just don't think that's going to fly. I think it's going to make people feel like they're going to have to go to the other side because this person do believe in the core values that I believe in. Just saying.
Hmm.
I don't know. What's y'all thoughts about this? This is in Massachusetts. This could easily be California, especially with Gavin Newsom. This could easily be something that they push through in California. Easily.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know, sissy. I really don't know what to say. Tasha has a comment.
I don't understand this bill. So the person who was the biological father of the child can be replaced. I'm confused. They want to take the word father and mother off the certificate. That's it in a nutshell. Person who gave birth and probably and I don't know what the father's going to say. Person who gave sperm. I don't fucking know. But they want to take mother and father off of birth certificates and put person who gave birth and I don't maybe the father. I don't know if the father going to be there. I don't know. But and like I said, this all goes back to where they
Okay.
want it to be non-binary. They want gender to not be an option so that they can do evil and nasty things to children. I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it. That's why they are trying to erase gender. Keep saying it.
Wow, this is deep. I just feel like this is all of this stuff is leading up to what I think is going to be a great divide. That's just me. I
Mhm.
think America is definitely going to head into another civil war, but I don't think it's going to be the civil war like the first American Civil War. I don't think it's going to be about race. I really don't. I think
So I
they're
just I'm
going
gonna
to
have to look
disguise it because
into
they know
this
that
one.
for
I'm going to have to look into this one because I don't understand the intent of the bill. The intent of the bill is to erase mother and father from certificates. That's it in a nutshell. Which is
wow,
crazy.
that's
That's just
deep.
like they have non-binary. Like, well, we went to an event, they wanted you to name what were your pronouns. What's the purpose of that? You can look and see that I'm a woman. I can look and see that you're a man, but that's why they pushing all this. What are your pronouns? What do you identify as? Like they want to eliminate men, women, and just have anything. This shit it makes no sense. It's crazy. It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah. And I also think that should be an option. Like, and see, this is the thing that gets me. That should be the person's option. I feel like if they want to say
It
that,
is
they can.
crazy.
If they don't, that's their right too. But I feel like it's the pushing your view on other people that kind of feels like the founding of this country, where we push slavery onto Black people. We push eliminating Native American people onto people. You know what I mean? Like it's always this push
Hmm.
because you can never just leave people alone. And I think we say we're inclusion, but we don't really include people who may not be going the way you're going. And we should be okay with that. I think that's where I really struggle with. Like I was telling someone the other day that I do listen to Candace Owens. I don't agree with everything she says, but some of the stuff she says I agree with. I'll be like, I feel like, oh, I can never listen to agree with anything she says. I'm like, but then you won't call me closed minded. Like I feel where she's coming from. She's a Christian woman. She's a heterosexual. She's married. Like those are all her. She don't have to include other people. Like America's so big. What I never understood, Khadijah, honestly, I never understood the way we push ourselves on other cultures. I never understood it. I never understood why we needed to integrate a neighborhood when you could have made your own neighborhood, Demond. That's what the Cubans did. That's what certain other Latino groups did. That's what Asian people do, particularly Chinese people. They so happy with living with themselves and bringing their standard up. I don't understand the need for us to push ourselves on people.
Oh,
I
America has
don't
been a bully
understand
line
that.
since its
And
existence.
yeah, you're right.
America
I
has
just feel
been a
like I
bully
just get
since its
so like, Khadijah, you frozen?
uh-uh.
Okay, I stopped talking since I know it's a delay and I can talk again when you finish. So
Oh,
that's
I
that's why it was
disagree
no
with what you
problem for me
said.
because I know that.
I disagree with I was agreeing with you that America is just a bully. You said, how can they do it? They've been bullying people since they were in existence. Like bullies. That's they feel like they have the answer to everybody's problem. They are the solution to everybody's needs. America's been a fucking bully.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of this stuff just feels like, I often wonder, even in the world of transgender people, if they have their own community, which I think they do. I think that's the LBGQI plus, community. Um, do they have racism? Do they have sexism? Do they have colorism? I just often wonder all of the things we fight in the world that we live in, do that exist in the subgroups? I don't have the answer because I don't belong to that group like that, but I just know inside the black world, because I'm black, we have all of those things. We have misogyny, we have all kinds of stuff here. And I wonder if the other groups have that too. I don't know, but I just often wonder that. So there's a new law in Louisiana. uh, Gotta know what y'all think about this. Here's another one. So Louisiana mandates testicle removal for child rapists over 17 if victim is under 13. What are your thoughts on that?
I applaud it. I wish it can go across all the states. I think that is awesome. And it shouldn't just be rapists. It should be any type of sexual um interaction between an adult and a child. I think that's wonderful. Because far too many times rapists get out and they reoffend. Like I said, you cannot rehab someone who has an urge or an appetite for young people. It's pedophilia. So I think this is awesome. You know, it's hard to rape somebody when you don't have testicles. It's hard to rape somebody. I wish they would just say go ahead and castrate. Fuck the testicles. I know that probably helps to get hard and all that kind of stuff, but I say cut it off. Be done with it. So I think it's awesome. This should be everywhere. I agree, Elisa. I really do. I agree.
Okay,
And
so
now, anybody noticing how these
so
southern
here's
states are like really trying to make some changes when it comes to particular things? Because it was last week something else about Louisiana or maybe Alabama. I can't, but them southern states is coming with it. Go ahead, Ro. I'm sorry.
no, I'm waiting for you. I
Hmm.
also think in the South, people still hold on to tradition. I think, like
Hmm.
for instance, we talked about that law in Massachusetts. So that's
Hmm.
up. That's the New England state, if I remember, like one of the first 13 original colonies that we learned about in school back in the day. So they could kind of anything floats up there, right? Because that's where all the so-called liberals live, and like white people who are like, I'm not like my ancestors, but you are, but on a different level. But I
Hmm.
also think in the South, there are black people who can totally get behind this. Now, if people love their
Hmm.
son and don't want to discipline him, and then he rapes somebody, that's when you'll see women out in the street because they're trying to protect their son, the rapist. Which
That
means that
part.
we probably should do something. She probably should be in jail or should have something on her record, like she protects rapists or something. Because I feel like I don't know how we would trip off this law, especially if you ain't raping nobody. And
That
don't
part.
talk to me about, well, they wrongly accuse black men. Let me tell you something. When black women, something happened to the black woman out here, it ain't no white man. Let's just be honest. This is not
Very few
back
and far
in
between.
1720.
It's real too.
Yeah, we know that in our communities, we have some serious issues. I'm trying to put together this list of the black agenda, because I feel like one of the things I'll be trying to say to people who are supporters of people who are Democrats, well, where's your black list? Like, where's your black agenda list? And most of them don't have a list because they're not really wanting black people to have any kind of freedom. They're in love with imagery and how this may look on them. But I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
and if y'all are on here, you can put in the chat some things you think should be on the black agenda. I did hear back from a few people, and I'm not trying to be funny. Sometimes I could tell when people really don't work on the behalf of black people as a group.
Mm.
Like when I
What's
talked
up,
to Sister
Faye?
Javon Muhammad.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. When I talked to Javon Muhammad, because of her work she's been doing in her community, building clinics, building schools, like she's hands on, right? She just ain't trying to help her job, okay? Even though most times
Mm-hmm.
now, these couple of years, she's been CEO, COO, but in that position, she really does a lot of power moves, and she basically talked about mental health of black people. She basically talked about housing. She basically talked about uh, um, us getting a break on taxes, like reparations. Most black people don't even understand what reparations really mean, but that's the reason why you can't get ahead because other people are living in the benefits of their ancestors, and we're still living in the shadow of the things that have happened to us. Like targeting folks to go to jail, and so we're still railing from that. There are people right now who don't know their history past the crack era because they lost that connection to what we were before. So some of us think it's normal to have children without mates. We think that's normal. I don't know if you got that video, Khadijah, where the woman said, "This is what it's like to be with a bum ass nigga." I don't know if you see. I sent it to you today while I was waiting for my
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and it made me. She talked about the dude didn't help take the kids to summer camp. You can see his fool; he's knocked out. And I said to myself, "Wow!" But there are so many households where people think that is normal. Those are the same
Mm-hmm.
people who's watching Megan Thee Stallion thinking it is normal to follow anything she says when she's a millionaire, and you have to get up and go to work every day and take care of your children, or you may have to slide down a pole to take care of your kids. But that's not her reality. So, we may want to think about what that agenda would look like. But I do think this law to me makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we have to start connecting the dots because people are depending on you not to connect the dots because they really need you to be ignorant. They really need you to vote on your emotion without any tangibles. Like we know that in order for anybody to get in that White House, they have to have a stance on Israel. And it better be a pro stance. And I'm not mad at Israel for that. Let me just be honest. I'm not anti-Israel because I get it. But what I'm saying to you, that's power. People don't have to give black folks anything. Nothing. Here's
Mm-hmm.
another southern state, Khadijah. I don't know if you want to read this. I'll be quiet so you
Mm-hmm.
can catch up this evening.
Alabama school district enforces strict dress code banning Crocs, ripped jeans, and hair bonnets.
I don't think
Mhm.
that's a bad idea.
Not at
I
all.
don't.
Not the
I
way these
could be
people
wrong.
looking. Not the way these kids look in school. I think it's a great idea. They should do, and they also, they have and they're trying to pass in San Francisco. I couldn't find it where you have to get drug tested in order to get your welfare benefits. Saw that on the
Oh wow,
news.
that's
Uh-huh.
in San
And
Francisco.
they're offering San Francisco. San Francisco. Because the overdose
Wow,
rate of people with fentanyl and other things, a lot of them people it goes they're on um general assistance. So they're like, how are they able to afford these drugs? And so they're trying to do something where in order for you to get your cash benefits, you have to pass a drug test. It's not in set in stone yet, but that's something that they're working on. And if you do get
wow,
clean drug test back, you get an additional $100 or something like that a week. But I saw that on CNN this morning, so I thought that was interesting. Yep.
wow. What do you all think about this school district enforcing strict dress code? What are y'all's thoughts on that? Because I actually think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think the rest of the world has uniforms and codes and because none of this should distract from you learning.
That
I
part.
think we put
Ooh,
too much
shit.
money into all of this stuff that they talk about here. Um and then wonder why our kids, don't know cursive or can't sign their name or struggle with their reading levels or I just find that to be quite interesting. And I think we have to start somewhere. Now, when you get home, see, back in the day, we dressed a certain way, and then when we got home, we put on all the other stuff. You took off
Mm-hmm.
your school clothes and you put on your ripped jeans, if I had any, your tennis shoes, and I think that also got you into the mindset because too many young people that I work will ask me, and I love when they ask me, they're still like, how should I dress? And I'm like, you come into your job, you should dress casually. And then I'll let them see what that means. And then when they come and they're not dressed correctly, I said, let me explain to you what I mean. And I pull out the paper and I said, this is casual. And I show them what that means. And I said, the other stuff, that's not, that's, you can't dress like that. If we're going to the Capitol to meet with the people who make the laws, why do you think you should be able to show up that way? Why can't you show up like you're looking for business? Like you want them to understand, like, hey, we always say we're these multi-dimensional beings, but we always show up one way. You know, that's like when I'm going to meet with someone and it's important, I do put my best fit on. Like I make sure I don't have no wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. I don't go in there like I just roll out of bed, like I just came from walking the dog or something, or cooking in the kitchen all day. So I I really think this is a good thing. I think the dress code is something that we need. I don't know what y'all thoughts are about the dress code, but please chime in. Please chime in on what you think about that. And I don't think it's a thing of economics because you can always buy clothes. It's not even like about the designer of the clothes, it's just the basic, you know, ness of the clothes. Like there's some things you really just don't need. But that's my thoughts on it, Khadijah. What's your thoughts on it? I know you share, but I mean, do you think this would hinder your son from going to school? Do your son wear Crocs? Do he wear jeans? I don't even wear no hair bonnet, but how do you think that would affect? Because you have a son that's
It
actually
won't.
in high school.
It won't affect him at all because he wears tennis shoes. He puts on Crocs after he's done with band practice, practicing for 8 hours straight on turf. But that's not part of his everyday look. You know what I mean? Crocs are for comfort. That's why people put them on when their feet are hurting to give your feet some relief. He don't wear ripped jeans. He don't even wear a do rag. He has a bonnet, a male bonnet that he puts on for his locks. That comes off when he wakes up. That comes off when he's going outside. You know what I mean? So I think this is a good thing. I think black people, and I'm talking about my people because I'm not really concerned about a lot of others, but we have just really don't give a fuck about our parents. We come out looking any kind of way. I seen a lady sitting in front of me today in church. Her weave was so matted. It looked like she just put the wig on, but she had to have the hair on. I seen a sister in church this morning with a strapless dress on. Shoulders big as shit. There's just no dress code for black people anymore. We come out looking any kind of way. There is no put on your best, your Sunday's best. There is no make a good impression and put on your professional clothing. We are so far removed from looking. We look so unkept. To me, and ripped jeans was a fashion we was growing up. We all had some ripped jeans, but we usually had something underneath of it. It wasn't ripped where you could see our underwear. It wasn't ripped where you
Mm,
could see our thighs. That was part of. We had ripped jeans. We never went out with bonnets on. If we had a scarf on our head, we was outside doing some yard work or something. We was cleaning, we was washing the car, we was, something. But it wasn't. We didn't go in grocery stores with hair bonnets on. We didn't go in grocery stores with slippers on. We didn't go in grocery store with pajamas on. And I think black people have so far. It's like we once were the who you look to for fashion and for dress code and for the latest things and we was people that dressed our ass off. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. Even the
mm,
stars wear shit that looks trashy. And that used to be people that you look forward. You look at the movie stars to see what they was putting on, so you could try to emulate it. Even that is trashy. Black people, everything we put on is just trashy and low vibrational and low budget. And I don't know what the hell. I think this is awesome. I wish they would have put on there about revealing clothes because when I'm at my son's school, some of the clothes these kids have on look like they going from school to the strip club, and there's nothing's enforced. Now they have rights where they can wear tube tops and they can wear booty shorts and they can wear a dress where the sides have cutlets and cutouts and you can see their underwear or lack of underwear. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Right on, right on. You want to tell us about this story right here, Khadijah?
A mother called the police because her boyfriend, I believe it was her living boyfriend, was attacking her. I believe he stabbed her 20 something times. I don't remember the exact number, 24, 25
25,
times. And she
25.
had a 4-year-old son. She called the police for assistance with domestic violence. They came in, the baby came out the room, and they shot and killed her 4-year-old. So I don't know how a 4-year-old is
Oh
threatening.
wow.
I get the whole we felt threatened. I don't know how a 4-year-old is threatening to a police officer who go through extensive training to become a police officer. Or so they're supposed to. So I don't know how they fear for their life and shot and killed this 4-year-old. I think it's ridiculous.
You know what the sad part? I mean, the definitely sad that her child is gone. So there's nothing more sadder than that. But the other part is, look at this whole environment. She was with a person who stabbed her 25 times. I'm pretty sure that's not his first time beating her up. So there's domestic violence, fatally being assaulted. That's a fatal 25 times. And then they have the police come out. It was like they were a part of the assault team. And then they killed
Hmm.
her baby. I just feel like this is like violence on a whole nother level. Like, this is like, where do this person turn if you can't even get help from the police that's supposedly being paid for by your tax dollars? I think this is tragedy on every side you look at this. I
Hmm.
definitely think that officer should be fired without any benefit. I think he should be on trial for murder. How do you
Hmm.
kill a 4-year-old? Like, that don't even make no goddamn sense. Last week was they killed the woman who called for help, and now this
Hmm.
week they killed the child. Something's wrong
Yep.
here. And the
Hmm.
crazy part is, I'm not saying defund the police. I'm saying something is wrong, that there's a police department that's supposed to help you, but they don't seem to be very helpful to Black people. Because here's another case.
And it's not
It's
like
just
we're
sad. I
dealing
feel
with
bad.
one police department in one city, like in the heat of the night or some shit. This is
Mhm.
across the country.
Yeah.
So it's like a fabric as being a part of the police department that you give free reign to kill people because you have on a uniform. That's what it seemed like because they always get go off on paid leave while they investigate, and then they come like the officer that killed Sonia Macy. That was his sixth department that he had been in, sixth police department
Yeah.
that he has been a part of. So it's just
Yeah.
like people
Sad.
are they're getting a pass that should not. They should be getting their ass. Like this is crazy. Like I said last week, that brought tears to my eyes. It makes me not want to call the police for shit. People gonna start taking stuff into their own hands and handling their own disputes, and they're not gonna call the police.
And see, I think that is something that if there was a Black agenda that we can give to Trump and Harris, um, that should be on there. Protection from the
Hmm.
police, I guess.
Hmm.
Like, that's something that should be number one thing on, not number one, but maybe in the top five.
Absolutely, damn
Maybe
near
we need
number
to have
one.
a different place. Yeah, maybe there's a different place you call if you're Black. Maybe you can't go out there as the police. Maybe there needs to be, the Black team need to be trained to go out there. If the people are Black, you just can't send no white officers, because this shit's getting ridiculous. I don't know,
Hmm.
y'all. What's your thoughts on that? But that just made my stomach hurt. Like, I just felt like that's just fucked up. Excuse me, I'm trying not to cuss as much if you notice, but I feel like there's no way to dress that emotion up. Like, that's horrible. I don't know how we make that make sense. You understand what I'm saying? You cannot make that make sense. None of it makes sense. None of it. It just don't make any sense. It just don't. I don't know. I just sometimes I'm just kind of shocked at some of the stuff that I and seeing. Like it just don't make any sense. Um, I'm going to put up here next as a did you know moment. Um, and this I did not know, but I know now thanks to Khadijah bringing it to my attention. My daddy swore by this stuff, first of all.
Yes, he did.
I don't know who else, but Vic Rub, he'd be like, oh, no, you need some Vic Rub. And I think he didn't even know that a black man invented it. I mean, we invented everything. Who else was going to have time to put this stuff together like this? This is in
Mhm.
1880, so slavery wasn't even over yet. You don't read this Black History facts, Sissy?
Sure. A Black History fact in 1880, African American Lunsford Richardson from Selma, North Carolina, invented Vicks Vapor Rub. He invented this remedy when all three of his kids were sick while living in Greensboro, North Carolina. Richardson thought that his brother-in-law's last name, Joshua Vick, had a more catchier sound than his own. Richardson has also been accredited for the invention of headache powders. Thank you to Mr. Richardson's. And I, yeah, a
Yeah,
lot.
I didn't
If
even
you
know that.
Vapor rub is in a lot of black homes. Put it under your nose, put it under your arms. Baby's got fever or can't breathe. Rub it on their chest. Put it on the bottom of the feet. Put socks on. Open up. That's like a fixture in the black medicine cabinet in black homes. I got some in mind right now. My family's from Greensboro, North Carolina. We are still there. All right, Tasha. Big up the Greensboro. No. Yeah, I think that's dope. I mean, I'm not
Oh,
surprised.
I'm sorry. Thank you
Most of
for
this stuff is
correcting me.
home
Slavery
remedies.
was over in 1865. Thank you, Omega. I don't know why I didn't see the 1880, but you're right. You're right. You're right. 1865. Some people say 1863. Right on. Thank you for that.
That is where my brother was born. Oh,
Oh, that's right.
wow. Okay.
I just didn't
Didn't know
know
that.
that. I just did not know that. Um, I would be interested to know how many inventions were created by Black folks before slavery was over. I just, because even then, people didn't have the right to have patents, and depending on where you were in the
Mhm.
country. So I often wonder um, how many things we are using that Black people invented that we never knew because they could not have a patent.
Get credit for it. Mhm.
So I think, yeah, you know what I mean. And like as much as I see people talking about macaroni and cheese, when I watched the film High on the Hog was a docu series, and I learned about the man who kind of came up with the macaroni and cheese. He was a cook for George Washington, and he did a pretty good job of making that macaroni pie. He was famous for it. And then one day he went on a trip to New York for something and he disappeared and they never could find him again. But
Mm.
everybody makes macaroni and cheese. We think that's
Hell
the part of
yeah.
the African American cooking experience. You everybody who making a mac and cheese. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, Tasha has a comment.
Actually, Hobbsville is where he was born, but we are there as well. That is where we own land in Hobbsville. Okay.
Right
Hey,
on.
Omega Brewer
Do you
Gonzalez
plan
girl.
on going back there? Do you plan on going back there at all to Alabama? You know,
No, not
I
Alabama.
love the South.
She talking about North Carolina.
I'm sorry, North Carolina. Sorry, where my
Yeah,
brain is.
that's
Do you plan on going back to North Carolina? My grandmother lives in North Carolina. Okay, right on. I don't know where my brain is.
yes, we are discussing what to do with the land in NC. Keep it. Whatever y'all
Yeah,
do,
keep it.
keep
Don't
it.
sell it. Whatever you do. Whatever you do. So, what we're gonna do for the next 10 minutes, um, we're gonna talk a little bit about Black people and uh, colorism and why is that particular topic so hard for Black people to discuss? Um, why is that so hard? Uh, and I don't want to do that like in terms of do light skinned people have things easier? I don't want to do that bullshit. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't want to do that. I would like for us to really talk about why is it so pervasive and why um why is it that it is such a hard discussion to have? Um, why is colorism so hard to have that conversation? And why is it so hard for us to also look at that whole class issue? Because this thing, since this thing with Miss Harris has come up, a lot of classism was just revealed. Just some of the things people said, and then they had to eat the words when Megan Thee Stallion twerked on the opening of when Harris spoke in Miss Harris spoke in Atlanta, which is like a black hub, and some people felt some way about her being up there twerking and for president or whatever. But then they had to eat their words because they know that they need the black people who do not have as much as them in terms of material, which is how we get to this classism thing, that you really need those people to vote. Because if we are 15%, I looked this up earlier, but black people is like um we're like 15%, 12 to 15% of the population. Hold on, I'm trying to look at what I had earlier, but I was moving around so much. So I know in terms of all the females in the United States, there's like 166 million females, and they're saying 22 million of them are black that fall under the term black. Um, and I find that to be a very interesting number. But if that is true, why are where does the classism shit come up? She's saying it's 12%, but I'm trying to give exact numbers for females. So I looked it up and it says for females, there are 166 million females in the US population. This is the stats from 2021, but it says black females make up 22 million of those of that 166 million. And so that's just the female one. I was trying to find the overall population too. I do know that we're 12%, but I kind of want to say what 12% really look like. Like how much is 12%? Is that they're saying African American population is 41.5 million people. That's the census from 2022. That's our census. And so my thing is, why has it been so hard for us to deal with that? Omega has a thank you, Omega. She said we haven't dealt with the appropriated racial oppression that we have internalized. I think that could be some. I guess 13% of women. Right on. Thank you for that too. Um, I need to go deeper than that though. I'm not trying to be funny. I really think that we have enough education where it's like I've had experiences where I grew up using the term mulatto, and then I've had and I didn't have any friends that were mulatto growing up. I really didn't. I had people I say hi to, but I didn't have any in my close circle. Not until I was a grown woman that I started to be friends with some people who were mulattoes, and they told me that they hated the term. And so when they told me that, I could have said to them, "This is my internalized. This is how I grew up saying mulatto." When I realized that they didn't like for them to be um, called that, I immediately stopped using it. That's like when I'm talking with black folks and they like to use this term fair skin. And I always say, what the hell is that? Because there's no crown named fair. Like, what is that? And then they would have to like backtrack and say, well, no, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I don't know. But do you mean that this person has a fair chance with white people, that they were closer to white people so they would have a better, easier time? Because that's really how the term got started. See, black folks, we have rules to these, but then we be embarrassed to say why the rule is, why we are still using terms like good hair. Why are we using terms called good hair? Because if we want to talk about hair that is good and dominant, then it may not be the term that you're using because it don't make sense. So I just feel like at some point as a people, we have to have the courage to talk about our colorism and our classism. And what I find is it's a real hard subject because I meet a lot of black people, not all, but a lot of black people do have colorism. A lot of black people do have classism. And then when you let them know you ain't with that, then they're trying to back up. Like, no, I don't know. I'm letting you know I'm not with you on that. Because my mother did not go to college. My mother did not work for the state, but my mother worked. And so you will want to use her vote to keep you in your job, but you weren't doing nothing to help my mom in her job to raise her family because she wasn't really striving to be you. She wanted to be okay where she was. And I really think that we really struggle with that. Okay. You want to read this comment, Khadijah?
That's really the examples of appropriated racial oppression. We didn't do it to ourselves. It was created by the dominant class, and collectively we have internalized those messages.
I get what you're saying, but I don't. I thank you for your example, but I also believe I, we weren't raised like to blame other people for what we did to ourselves. We just didn't. My mom used to say you could do the right thing and the wrong thing. So that would be a great answer that you could use for yourself, but I don't believe that. I believe that everything we do in this life are choices. I met too many people who made the right choice. They struggled, but it was their right choice. I'm not into blaming I'm not into blaming powers to be. That's like me blaming my third grade teacher for some shit. I just can't do it. Like I wasn't raised to do that. I just wasn't. But that's just my thought. What about you, Khadijah? I just wish black people stop the bullshit. Like just stop it. But what's your thought,
I think
sister?
it's not going to. It's hard for or difficult, maybe talk about because most of us are guilty of using colorism and classism when it relates to other black people. I hear people demean people's job, or they just work, they just sweep at the hospital, or they're just a security guard, or they work at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Or they're selling fruit. Or whatever. We use classism all the time. I hear people when they're referring to people on television, like people are harder on uh Megan Thee Stallion than they are Cardi B. And they make the same kind of music. I think a lot of they think they give Chris Brown a pass for whooping somebody ass, but Mike Vick hit a dog and now he dark skinned and he's blackballed and nobody deals with him. I think too many times and too often in our community, black people are guilty of colorism and classism, and they don't want to address it or talk about it because they're guilty of it. So it's easy. I don't know who Omega is. I thank you for your input because that could be some of it. But I think a lot of times it's easier to blame the man or what we were taught. We are how many years removed from slavery? We are how many years removed from knowledge of self? We are how many years removed from all these other, we had Noble Drew Ali. We had Marcus Garvey, but it took people that come and look a certain way, people to be able to accept them and get the same message from other
Mm,
people. So I think even we are unconsciously contributing to the colorism and classism that we experience in Black America. And I think it's just a way more easier or a very generic cover up to blame it on um, someone else versus saying, yeah, I'm guilty. You know, we had an aunt that favored uh, uh, a granddaughter that was lighter than the other kids. We can't
yep.
blame that on slavery. She wasn't even cute. And I'm not saying, nothing against her, but she wasn't beautiful in any shit. That some people are just naturally beautiful where you're like, oh my God, they're beautiful. It was because of her skin tone that made her beautiful. You know, we spoke about a few things back that
I
we have
know.
someone in our family who was a colorist and one got the lightest thing there was to marry next to white. And well, she's a black woman, but he got the lightest thing it was. You know what I mean? So we unconsciously or consciously um display colorism, and we do. I see classism since this whole debate started. I see classism so clearly. It's like black people wasn't really,
Yeah.
they didn't give a fuck about our opinion at the time. Now that they need us, that's why Megan Thee Stallion was there to appease the younger audience so she can get them black votes. You know what I mean? which was to me was a fucking insult. As an older black woman, had I been in Atlanta, I would be insulted to come to a national convention and somebody's twerking their ass. I think that's an insult. That is all we are, is shaking our butt. I spent my adult life building power for communities of color, and I don't know what communities of color mean, but
Right
thank
on.
you, Omega. Thank you. And that's another thing, communities of color. We sometimes we just don't like to say black. We no, you never go to a Mexican event or a Spanish event or Hispanic or Latinos and they say people of color, they say brown people. They are proud of who they are. You go with Asians, they say people of Asian descent. They're proud of who they are. Or they'll say Pacific Islanders. It's only when it comes to black people that we use it's people of color, or it's the way we were raised, and it's embedded in our mindset. Embedded in our mindset used to also be to build black towns, to be black doctors, all of that. Well, how come we only can refer back, or we're still using shit that is demeaning us and keeping us down, but none of the good qualities that our ancestors had? We don't have any of their fighting us. We're not building, we're not working collectively together to make black towns. We're not working collectively together to build black schools, but we work collectively together to tear each other down. Black, Latino, and AAPI. Okay, that's awesome. Great. Now I get it. Um, so that used to be called the ghetto. So for people that don't know, ghetto means a neighborhood with lots of different ethnicities and races. That's what ghetto truly means. And so then we came up with
Yeah.
the, I
Jewish
don't know,
people.
people of color term, because we it just sounds nicer, I guess. But that's what the ghetto was. It was like a melting pot of people. But I think it's a cop out for us to refer to the way it was ingrained in us, because a lot of good shit was ingrained in us, and we don't do any of that. So I think it's just a cop out to not have accountability for colorism and classism as we see it today. Just my opinion.
I think you explained that way better than me, Sissy. Because sometimes I just like I just feel like we really struggle with saying things the way that they are. Like right now, we're in a place where you have to be politically correct, and that's why people kind of split. I listened to a sister today. Um, I listened to a sister today. I guess she spoke at Trump's thing. See, I listen to everybody. Let me just be honest with y'all. I listen to everybody's speech. I don't care who it is. I listen to the RNC stuff. I'm gonna listen to when the Democrats do theirs. I listen to the speech that the guy from Israel gave. That's their God, my brain is on blank today, but the guy who's over Israel, yeah, he came and spoke and addressed the Congress and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And for me, I listen so I can hear things firsthand. That's number one. I don't want nobody interpreting nothing for me. And then I just feel like, so they had this young sister that spoke at and she did like the RS. It was some kind of, somebody sent it to me, and I think sometimes we're gonna just act like she don't know who she is because she's speaking at, I guess it was a rally for Donald Trump. That's what I later found out it was.
Because she's speaking
But in
opposite
her
of what they
speech,
believe and think. Hmm.
right. But here's the thing: some of the stuff she said, all the stuff really, made. I felt what she was saying. She was basically saying her come up happened when Trump was president. She said, I went from working at some kind of fast food place, and now she has a whole lot of different businesses, and she's been like work whatever. We will dismiss her when we probably shouldn't dismiss her because that's the group that we claim we work on the behalf of. We actually should be listening to her and find out what is it that she got that she didn't get from us, but we claim that we gave it to her. She was
Hmm.
like your
Hmm.
average young sister out here trying to make it happen. And my thing is, now I gotta go look up the rest of her stuff. I don't know if she spoke anywhere else, but that's like the base talking that we act like we're speaking for that base. But I never even heard of the young lady. I'm not saying she's not real and she don't exist, but I just feel like we don't want to address the people who are really having this experience. We want to act like we're all in a particular block box. And she also talked about overcoming her own obstacles in life. But for some reason, we
Hmm.
don't want to hear from people like that. I just found that to be. I'll send you the clip that was sent to me, so I want to see it all. Go ahead, Khadijah.
It's not even that. I don't even know if it's that they don't want to hear from her. They don't want to accept her experience because it differs from them. If you're not jumping on
Right.
the bandwagon of what the mass majority are on, then that must be a facade that you're saying. You're a plant. They picked you and made you come say this. That can't be true. She has self-hate. We get to the point where anybody whose opinion differs from ours, they're wrong. And their
She
experience is
does.
not their experience. And you're making this up. And I think that's ridiculous because she's clearly telling you, and this is from her own mouth about her own experience. You know what I mean? And so it's valid. She doesn't need you to validate. She don't need anybody to validate her experience. But we get to the part, and we're in a part in the world where people act like they have to validate or agree with you in order to believe your story. And I think that is absolutely crazy. So I agree with you. People probably talk down to this and everything else because her experience is not like somebody else's experience. It's hers. If it's the same woman at Chick-fil-A, she actually works for Trump.
Yeah, but my thing is, maybe
That
that's
was a
how she
recent
got a
visit he did to
job.
Chick-fil-A, ain't it? That was a recent one. That wasn't one from when he was under. I mean, he was president.
Yeah,
He just went to visit Chick-fil-A during
but my
this
thing is,
campaign
because
run.
she works for Donald Trump, don't mean I can't hear what she's saying. That's let me just keep it all the way a book. I don't care that she works for Donald Trump. She got a job. Some people work for Kamala. Like, and I
And
also
some
feel
people
like,
work for Kaiser that they call
I,
Killer Kaiser, where black people don't get the same treatment as other people. Some people work for the police department, where some black people go in and never come out and die. You know what I mean? So sometimes people work for people that are straight out uh, not good to black people, but we still talk to them. We still listen to their story.
right, right. I just, because I'm not trying to discount the sister. I don't even know her. My thing is, I also think that we have a classist group of people supporting see we be very clear about Donald Trump. And I'm not voting for him, by the way. Let me just keep that all the way a buck. But I feel like we be very we have this classist group of people who act like all the black people are supporting Kamala. That's probably not true. They showed a bunch of men that was in a barbershop, and most of them didn't think she was black, whatever. They want to cut that interview because I think in the black world, out of these 22 million or whatever we have here, all of us is not going to believe the same. Some of us are in different economical situations. Some of us are in different political situations. I just feel like the thing that gets me is I want to know this woman's story. I want because she could be like my students. Let's just be honest. Like I'm trying to help black girls right now find jobs, even though I put some of them to work this summer with my own money, so they can have a place to go to work and everything like that. I feel like we don't want to hear their stories because it may not fit. It may not fit the lie we tell ourselves. Like it'd be different if all the black people, no matter what side they was on, Trump side, Kamala side, I don't care if they was all pushing us to the same direction. I think most of us are trying to um solidify our place of where we are right now. We don't even care that that a big number, a disproportionate number of black women are homeless with their children. We don't even discuss that. We don't talk about job security for black women, you know? Yeah, I think that could be the same person, Latasha. She was questioning on what she was, not responding. No, no, I get you. No, no, right on. But I just feel like, wow. I just feel like that always kind of cracks me up. No, 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 I get you. But sometimes people say that like it's gonna discredit her. Like, I don't, is she not gonna make me vote for Donald Trump or not? I'm just saying I think we don't really look at where people are coming from. We always have a way of excusing why she could be standing up there behind Donald Trump. When I heard one thing she did say, this is how I know I want to know who she was. She said, "I don't care what the man says. I go by what people do." She said basically black folks got to get out of being emotional and look at the track record. Go by what people do to you. And I'm not gonna front y'all. For Biden, I remember those black men going to prison in the 90s because I worked in the 90s. I was a foster care parent in the 90s. Everybody in my job was a foster care parent. We try to keep the babies out the system. So we talked about that crime bill. But for some reason, black folks, we gonna act like none of that existed when we know we had relatives that went to jail behind that. We know people went to jail for selling weed and shit. And now people got weed dispensaries, and very few of them are black people. Okay, go ahead.
Black
Make
people are
you
not a
make us
monolith.
comment, Khadijah?
Yeah. Black people are not a monolith, but I'm having a hard time understanding someone who literally wants to undo the Civil Rights Act. You can't discredit
Right
anyone's
on.
experience. That is how they arrived. I'm reading Tasha's now. Arrived
Okay, yeah,
at
yeah, I'm here.
where
Sorry.
they
Okay.
are. That's their story. Everyone's story is different. We can't discredit that. I agree, Tasha.
Right on.
Black people. Oh, yeah, I
Go
read
ahead.
that. Yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
we read that.
Hmm.
Sorry. Oh no, she wrote
So
something else on there. However, I understand any black person who can support a man who wants to undo. See,
I,
and here's
I,
my
I
thing,
read
Omega.
that
I don't have
first.
a problem with that, but no, no, this is she. The end of it was different because she has black person in this one. Cause no, it's different. Yeah, I can understand how any black person can support a man who wants to. But
Okay,
see,
the
you're
black people.
talking about wants to undo. You know what I'm saying? What? Tell me the track record. That's what she was saying. That's what she was saying. I ooh, this
The
is
crime
hard.
bill.
I'm glad we having this conversation.
The crime bill was supported by black voters at the time, and is a result of the Reagan and Nixon administration, aka the war on drugs. And he was a part of
But
that.
Biden was one of
Um,
the people who worked on it. Yes, he did. See, that's what I'm talking
mhm,
about.
he
Instead of
was
saying,
a
you know
part of
what,
that.
Biden did work on that when he was, in his office. Yes, he did work on that. And you don't have to convince me about Reagan and Nixon. I'm trying to be funny, but Biden was the author that he talked about that. And I just feel like it's okay. Donald Trump is non-existent. Oh, but you talk about what he wants to do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I only go by what you do. I don't go by lip service because people give black people lip service all the time, and we haven't seen stuff. People can say what they're
Ain't
gonna
saying
do for
shit.
us. I haven't always seen that. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And my thing is, I'm not
I'm
a
taping.
like I
You can't
told
come.
my
I'm
friend
taping.
on
You gotta come on
Friday
my
who was
camera.
having like a really good time. I was basically telling her that I look at everybody's stuff. I don't do emotional voting. I have to look at the person's track record and does that align with me? Now, what I will tell you is that I have not had big backings. I've always worked in the consultant role. I did work for a nonprofit for like 25 years or so, whatever, helped to build clinics. But I've always taken a little bit of resources I have and I have helped people in my community. And I haven't had any security doing that. That's a little different. So for me, I'm the type of person I really have to go by uh what?
Biden was not working for black
Honey,
people. I don't know what history y'all looking at, but Biden was not working on behalf of black people. But go ahead. I'm sorry. That just yes, the crime bill was supported by black voters who really didn't research to find out what the bill was really about. It sounded good. It was crime going on. It was a war on drugs. People were trying to make their community safe. They knew the ins and in and outs of what it was. Biden pushing the agenda. He used black people back then to get the shit
so did Hillary.
approved the same way they're using black people right now to get things approved. And so and when it comes to Donald Trump, Donald Trump, no, we know he says some of the most demeaning shit to black people. He says some of the worst things. His lip service is ridiculous. Period. He says some of the worst demeaning things. You said his track record is non-existent at this point. Yes. But he's talk about things that he wants to do. I believe he will do it when it comes to letting the police get off. That's one of the issues I have with Trump when he say he'll exonerate. Police can do their job, and we know their job right now is killing black people. I'm not going to sit there and act like Donald Trump is the answer to black people, but neither the fuck is Kamala Harris. Neither one of them have our best interests at heart. Period. Donald Trump has made it very clear and plain that he is about white supremacy. He talks about the people that back him that are white supremacists. He talk about making America great again when it was never great for black people in America. So I'm not going to sit on here and act like this man is the answer to black people prayers. I'm not going to act like he's the worst person that ever exists. Donald Trump is straight up about what he's going to do. It's up to you to decipher through and see if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you or what you want to believe in and what you don't. What I'm talking, so if you listen, you'll hear what I'm talking about. I'm saying we got to stop getting on here acting like Biden is for black people. If that's who you want to push, great. If you want to push Donald Trump, great. It is your opinion, your perspective. Biden used black people back then to get that shit passed because people was getting their house broke into from crackheads. That's why they said the war on crime and the drug war, that was some real shit. People were losing their lives because of that. So he used, just like he told people when he was running, if you're not black, you don't vote for me. He's using black people the same way now. If you don't vote for Kamala, you're not black. That's the same shit, y'all. He's using black voters once again. They use us when it's convenient, but they do nothing for us. They passed that Asian law really quick, right? When they was killing them Asian women and slapping them and shit, that law got passed expeditiously. But we out here getting killed by the police every day. Domestic violence against black women with black on black crime is ridiculous, and they don't say a peep about that shit. It's so many black missing young black girls. Sacramento's done been off the chart for the last few weeks. So we can't sit here and act like one is better than the other. They're both two individuals that use the black community. Trump, he back in the day, all the rappers wanted to be like him. Now he's referring back to them, but a lot of people are supporting him. So but we can't sit here and act like one is worse than the other or one is better for us than the other. We got to be able to be ready to deal with whatever devil get in that house, because they ain't doing shit for black folks. We could sit here and debate all night and talk all night about who passed what and who didn't and who did what. We better be ready to go do for self, regardless of who gets in that house, because they're not doing shit for black people, nor did Trump do anything for black people. I just said that. I can give you a list of policies that President Biden and VP Harris have accomplished that benefit black people. I would love to see that list. And what kind of black people? People of color or black people? Because there's a difference. I'm a black woman, and I would like to know what benefit I got from Trump and from Kamala and Biden. So is it black people or people of color? And is it the bourgeoisie black people? Because I don't have student loans to be forgiven. That didn't do shit for me. So some student loans was forgiven. I don't have that. That didn't benefit me. I'm not a welfare recipient. So giving out these extra food stamps, I didn't get any of that. So what did they pass that benefited black people? I would really like to know. I'm referring to all issues when it comes to black people. That's what I'm referring to.
Look, I think that was a really good exchange because I really believe that it's okay for black people to say, I ain't with that. It's okay for
Period.
black people to say, I want something directly for me. Because one of the lines I do get to hear people say, which Kamala said out her mouth, she can't do something that's just going to benefit just black people. But every other group, the LBGT group, the Asian group, Latinos, immigrants, they all got special laws for them.
Hell,
But when it comes to black people who've been here the longest, we can't get anything. We can't even get an anti don't kill us while you come to see about us
bingo.
as a cop bill. Like we can't get anything. You see the comment, Khadijah?
Tina says neither party is for black people. We need to hold the Democratic Party accountable and not be so easy to give them our votes. Period. We say we're not a monolith, but we want us all to do the same shit. Because I'm black, I'm supposed to be a Democrat? Because I'm black, I'm supposed to just go with the woman that they say is black? Because I'm black, I'm supposed to hate Trump? Because I'm black, I'm supposed to just go along with whatever? That's crazy. We have the right to have our own perspective and
Yeah, and
opinion.
I feel like that's the ultimate. I think that's the ultimate conversation, Khadijah. I would love. I'm gonna say this. I would love to have some black Democrats and some black Republicans and some black independents all sit down and kind of talk about their stance. Because I think that's where the real power is. You know,
Presidents cannot sign what they don't get.
hey, sis. Oh my, tell me what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that
Trump did
means.
what the
Like
fuck
when
he
they
wanted to do
signed
when he was in
that
office.
bill in for Asian people, I'm just saying when they signed that bill in, who presented that bill that it got passed so quickly? I just kind of wondered about that since you're saying that. Like, what power do presidents really have then? If I don't know. Like when Obama was in there for those 8 years, the biggest thing I heard black political people saying who were Democrats was saying that we didn't give him no support or we didn't give him a blacklist, even though y'all dogged the shit out of Ice Cube when he presented his blacklist. Y'all gonna say why it
Mm.
wasn't okay for him to do that? Like he's not his own person, his own human being. But at least he came up with a list, or what he thought. He researched it with a bunch of people, and instead of saying, "Hey, let's look at what Ice Cube put up," we wanted to dog him like he didn't have a right to do that. That's a problem. Why would we do that to him? Like, why would he just say, hey, he put up one, let us put up one? Why do we think there has to be one way to help the variations of black people? Like, I don't understand that. So maybe you could enlighten me on that. It has to pass through both Congress. Okay, I got you. But can't the president veto that? Maybe I'm ignorant, but maybe you can help me with that. But I just feel
Donald
like
Trump did
we
what
just,
the
and
hell
I've
he
seen
wanted
this
to do when he
firsthand.
was in office. They put bills on his desk. He was
Right on.
like, nope, he did what the hell he wanted to do in that office. And he put people in place so they can go through Congress. He put people in place so that they could pass certain bills so they could have the majority vote.
Right on.
That's the
Right
same
on.
thing. Yeah,
Um,
I don't
yeah,
even
no,
know.
I
I'm
just
even to
wonder,
talk like that.
and my thing is, I think, and I'm going back to Ice Cube because Ice Cube was one of the few people I seen put forth the black agenda. When I read through his whole what he proposed, and I watched people tear him down. And you saying that's what's not true, sis? I'm sorry, we got a little delay. Wouldn't you say that that's not true? Maybe whatever that is, so we can know exactly. But I'm just saying, like, when I read Ice Cube's thing, I've seen this in person one time. I'm not gonna name no names because these people are kind of like in both of these young ladies. But I remember one time a person was saying they got a group of black people in Sacramento together to come up with something, and it was another black woman who was very powerful. Told them, "Why y'all do that? Y'all don't have the right to do that." And I thought to myself, "Why would you tell her that?" Okay, good. I didn't see Jesse Jackson. I just seen Ice Cube's put one forth before him. Yeah, I didn't see his. I would love to see his. Maybe I'm gonna look it up. But I just feel like did anybody put that up for Kamala and Donald Trump? Just curious. Because I know that Ice Cube did one, and I think he was gonna meet with Trump about it to
I
not
didn't
put
say
people
he
in
put people in
Congress.
Congress. I'm saying
I
they made sure the right Republicans were where they needed to be to get the laws that they wanted passed. That's what I'm saying.
okay, right on. I do know he picked the justice, right? Didn't he pick two or three
Come on, y'all. I mean,
Supreme Court
we
justices?
can make this. We could try to be the rainbow people all the fuck we want. We could try to act like he the boogeyman. Donald Trump put people in strategic places, had certain people running certain cities to get certain shit done. Come on, y'all. Like we gotta stop.
He didn't. And I'm just saying, I think it would be a good place to have a discussion where
That's why I don't get into
even if
politics with
somebody
people.
is on the opposite side of you or not on the side of you, I think like, oh, that's not accurate. Wait a minute, what's not accurate? I'm saying, did y'all? Maybe I'm tripping, but when I hold on, but wait a minute, when I listen to people talk about he picked three Supreme Court justices. Is that not true? Did CNN lie to me? Because I got that from CNN. I didn't get that from Fox News. I could be wrong as hell, but that's where I got it from. I think I got it from CNN. That's all. Since that's your background, you do politics, sis. I would love for you to tell me if that's right or wrong. But I just okay. Okay. That's what I thought. I thought he picked the Supreme. That's what I was talking about. Khadijah not. What is she not right about, Omega? Because we black women in here. This is Sunday Sit with Sisters. What do you mean by that?
That he
Help me out
picked
with that.
people for Congress, and that's not what I was saying. I was saying he had people, and particular
He
situ.
nominated Supreme
Uh,
Court Justice. Thank you, Javon. Sorry, Khadijah.
no, that's okay. I was saying they make sure certain people run to get elected so that they can run and do the shit they want to do. Congress confirmed those nominations,
Okay.
right? Because they people that are in there that support Trump. Anyway, we can move on. Thank you,
Nominations.
Omega, for all of
Yeah.
your
No.
input. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Javon is on here. Javon, let me ask you this question. So, I mean, because Javon's pretty astute. Because I just talked about you earlier, Javon. I was saying that you've been in a lot of positions where you help people get health care, where you help people with, I mean, you've done all kind of stuff. Like Javon's like incredible. Then she do stuff internationally as well. Um, Here's one thing: is not emotional. People can choose to vote for whoever they want because of why they want to. Okay, you see Javon's comment? You muted, Khadijah. You still there?
Yeah,
You
that was what
muted.
we've been saying this whole thing. You can vote for who you want to vote for. You don't have to vote for who people think you should vote for. You vote for the best person that you could feel is qualified for the job that you think they're going to do. Period. They could promise us everything. They could
So
threaten
let
us
me
with their
ask you.
enemy what they're going to do when they get in office. That's what we've been saying through this whole thing.
So I
That's
guess
why I
then
don't like to
my
get into
question
politics. The
is:
shit
so
is
thank you,
annoying.
Javon. Thank you, absolutely, Javon. But here's my thing: what is it that we are wanting? Like, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But what is it that you think we need in this next president? Let me rephrase that. Like, that question I'm asking. I'm basically asking, when you think of the job as the president, I'm not talking about Kamala or Donald Trump. I'm talking about, what is it that you think we need our president to do? Not what they need to look like, but what do you think we need that need to do? We come to the president for the office so they can implement their agenda. Trump is the tool. Got you. I agree with that. And so do Democrats do the same thing. Sorry. So I agree.
Mhm.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that, sis. And we choose based on our experience. I may have thought Kamala served me better or Donald Trump. Okay. And we choose based on our experiences. I may have thought Kamala served me better or Trump. I agree. What is it that we want the president to do? That's what I'm trying to ask. Is it important or is it not important? Should we not be focusing on the president? Maybe we should be focusing on Congress, because that's what I think I just got. Like, maybe we should be focusing on who we put in the Congress and don't worry about who the president is. I don't know. That's just a question. Because I do think this kind of stuff is long overdue in terms of, excuse me, y'all, in terms of what it is that we think we need. Omega said yes. Okay. Yes to what, Omega. I'm sorry. Because we be talking, then they get they reply up late, and then we don't. I'm not exactly sure. I want to make sure I'm clear. So, but I just know, and let me say this: we have some very powerful Black people, period. But I also think in that powerful Black people pool, we never get to sit down and see how we can even be allies with each other. That Congress is the most powerful branch of the government. Gotcha. And then the funny thing is, now I got to research who's running for Congress if we have anybody running this period. I've been focusing on so many other things. I've been learning a lot about politics that sometimes it don't even feel like the person who's most qualified even get the job. Sometimes we go by who we believe may align with us, and they
Most
may not be
popular.
aligning at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, that person may not even be able to be fit to do anything. And then when they see what I learned, and I voted for Obama twice. I realized that people act like Black folks can't even have an opinion of a person. Like, hey, if I put you in office, these are the things I'm gonna need you to address. We act like Black folks can't even say that. Okay, she said they make the laws and have the power of pursuit. Okay, right on.
Power of the
My
purse.
thoughts
Power of
are
the
from
purse.
my purse. I'm sorry. Did I say pursuit of the purse? Sorry, that's what you got the money. Gotcha, gotcha. Go ahead, Khadijah. You can keep on reading.
My thoughts are from my current position. We have to work on healthcare. This is truly important and it needs to be addressed.
I agree
I
with
would
that.
like a president who gives me autonomy. I want to be bullied into a mainstream ideology. I don't want to be bullied into vaccines. I don't want to be forced to think like my neighbor.
Right on.
The president's role is to enforce the laws,
Okay.
all through policies and orders.
All right.
I would like foreign policies to favor my livelihood.
What do you mean by that, Jay When you said you want foreign policies to favor your livelihood, what does that mean? Because most of us not even thinking about foreign policy. Some of us are, but I'm just saying, what is it about foreign policy? Oh, shit. Sorry.
Thank you, Javon. The president's
Okay,
role is
Jay,
more than
Jay
that, or we wouldn't be sitting here tripping on no fucking Trump. Like, come on, y'all. Stop trying to act like the president don't run shit. Or anyway, go ahead, JJ. Man, what you mean by foreign policies and your livelihood?
And what are the other roles that the presidents do? Since you said it's more than that, Jay could you give me like a idea of what you mean when you say that? Oh, here we go.
We can't just elect the president. We have to send him or her the majority of Congress to get meaningful policy changes.
Okay. I think that's what happened with Obama the first time they said that they didn't have enough power in the House or the
To
Senate,
make
I
any change,
believe,
mm-hmm.
for him to do anything. I remember hearing that.
Yeah, because the Republicans was in
And
place
then I
and
don't know what happened
he couldn't do shit.
second. Okay. Well, we agreed to that. I just feel like just the whole thing with how things supposed to work. Um, I don't know. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Because I also think when you have racism on both parts of the party, it's gonna be hard to get anything done. When
Hmm.
people feel like we not gonna do nothing because we don't trust this person because he don't look like us. Uh-oh. Wait a
Go
minute.
back to
Oh, here you
Javon's.
go.
You want too
Wait,
fast.
wait.
Go back up.
Sorry. I was trying to. It was moving. The
Negotiation
screen
that
was
keeps
moving.
jobs here, boost our economy, and keep
Sorry.
us out of war. Enforcing laws
Okay.
include all federal agency. The
Got
president
that.
comes in with an agenda, and he or she works within their party and sometimes in a bipartisan way to get the agenda passed.
All
I want
right. I like
education to be
this.
addressed as well. I do not want restrictions that limit the education of our children.
What you mean by that, Tasha? What you mean by that, sis?
Think about the Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
The president negotiates our position internationally. Yep. Congress
Okay.
declares war per the Constitution.
Ooh. Okay, let me ask you this. Is that why the guy who's I gotta get his position right. The dude from Israel, please excuse me, I
Mm-hmm.
can't even get the prime minister or something like that. Is that why he spoke to the joint session of Congress?
Uh-huh.
So it didn't matter that the vice president wasn't there?
Oh, let me.
Or was that important for her to be there or not? I don't know. Because we definitely gave Israel a lot of money, billions of dollars. So help me out
Well,
with
that
that.
came from Congress. I believe that came from Congress, then, according to Omega, because they hold the purse straps. That didn't come from Biden. That money that went to Israel must have came from Congress. The president didn't have anything to do that, according to Omega, because they hold the purse straps. So that's probably why he addressed Congress. Sometimes the president starts beef through executive orders.
Oh shit.
They're trying to pass a policy that makes it illegal to educate on our Black history. It is championed most visibly in Florida under DeSantis. They don't even give us the real Black
I,
history anyway in school. They only talk about when we was. They give us a very generic, small portion of it, like Abraham Lincoln freeing
you
the
said it was
slaves. That's about all the Black history we get in schools. My son had to debate his
no,
history
that's a
teacher
lot.
about Black history and give the history teacher some facts. He had to pull up some shit that he didn't know. They give us very generic on Black history in schools when it ain't their job to really educate us about Black history. It's our job.
Oh
All
shit.
American presidents have bowed to Israel, so the president did have something to do with it. Okay, it was a bill. What was the bill, Omega? The money they sent? They sent some bills over there. I know that was millions upon millions, but they are now trying to enforce that it is a federal crime. Got you.
Billion. Gotcha. Okay.
The president doesn't always set the tone. If the president didn't set the tone and push an agenda, we wouldn't vote for them. We wouldn't care. They're trying to move a policy now that even this conversation is a federal crime. Well, it's a crime to be Black, Tasha.
But I
That's
get
what it
what you're
seemed like. We
saying.
getting shot the
Most of
hell
us don't
down.
even know that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Come
Okay.
on, let's not pretend that the president isn't powerful.
Come on.
Thank you, Javon. This is just the it done gave me a slight headache.
That's all right.
Trump
You
removed
know
us
what?
from
I
the
think
Paris
this is so
Accords.
healthy. What
For
was the
you,
Paris Accords? I keep hearing that, but what was that, Javon? What is the Paris Accords? Yeah, what is that? Because I do hear that. I listen to a lot of stuff. Some stuff go over my head. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I have to look it up. I'm listening to stuff while I'm at work. I'm driving. Oh, Trump is
Trump is
negotiating with
negotiating with NATO.
NATO. Will
Will we be a member? But I
oh
shouldn't be placed in prison because of my opinion. Absolutely not. But that has happened. Look at the history. Look at history, Tasha. That has happened. We repeating times. The president goes to G7.
G
Excuse me, y'all. I'm burping all
G7.
in the damn thing.
I get that. I thought you meant the G7. Thank you for correcting that, Javon. I think
And
this is a
Tasha, I
very
agree.
healthy
Freedom of speech
conversation.
should be freedom of speech, but unfortunately, it doesn't apply when you disagree with what people determine hate speech. You know, us talking about Black rights is considered hate speech, like we hating on somebody else. You know what I mean? So No one said the president isn't powerful. I'm saying there are three co-equal branches of government. The president isn't solely responsible. Yeah, we learned about that in elementary. Climate initiatives, three branches of government. You right, Omega. The president can't sign
Hmm.
into law what he or she doesn't receive from Congress.
That's true. They can
Covered that.
sign it or they can veto it, right? And not sign it at
We
all.
should have
Yeah,
an
I knew that.
in-person
Yeah, I
conversation
agree
because
with
I
that.
feel like typing is too much to keep on each topic. Right, Tasha?
I agree with you. I would have to fly Javon out here. Because see the difference I feel like with Javon is not just a land, she's not just a own a house. She owns land. She deals with people who grow their own food, have their own animal. That's very different than people living in the
She
city.
builds a clinic. She worried
It's,
about medical attention. She,
yeah,
you know,
she
she
does
does a
some shit where
lot of
she ain't
things.
waiting on the law.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
she
different.
ain't trying to
That's why we
keep
can have
people out
all
of
kind
shit.
of
Like,
black people. Yes, yes, and she don't care if you have a college degree or not. Let's just be honest, because some of this shit is about all of that. Like
yeah,
we don't know what to do when people move our cheese. You know, a
Sasha got me
Zoom
weak.
call would work. No, I'm down with
Uh,
the Zoom call because I feel like there's a lot of education in that. Like for instance, Omega, every year, because I'm trying to be a better host. Every year, at least for the past like 11, 12 years, I've taken young people on a road trip and we've been to the state capitol and we've toured all those branches of government and we got to see how things work, at least on paper. But I also learned from meeting with all of these congressmen and stuff like that. They talk a lot about when people make calls to each other and decide how they really gonna move together, no matter what their
hmm
political party is. And that's something we don't talk about when we're talking about how the law's supposed to work. Because I believe in going to the place where you get to see things moving and happening. That's a little different. It's not that you can vote 2 to 3 of Congress support because they can override it. Right on. And
And I
I'm
am not
proud
proud
not
to
to be
be
a
a
Democrat.
Democrat. And I am proud not to be a Democrat.
Yeah. I just think, Javon, you bring a
Presidents
different
come in and
perspective.
sign. Presidents come in and sign executive orders without Congress.
See,
If
I just
everything
think
ran
I'm
the way
with
it
you,
was supposed
Tasha.
to be ran, the world would be absolutely beautiful. But unfortunately, we know laws are set into place that they can fucking override and do what they want in their chambers and then come out and act like it was something for the world. That's all that I'm saying. We know stuff is set in place to run a particular way, but America is a beast that runs on its own oil. It does its own shit. I worked in legislation for years. I can tell you how shit really works.
I get that. Let me just say this because I value everybody. I value Omega. I value Javon, Tasha. I love this conversation. But the truth of the matter is, let me tell you what my uncle who was born in 1923 told me. He used to say, this reality, these people will never make a law that will make them have to really
Thank
follow it. They always leave a loophole, a hole, a way to crawl out of it. I've seen it my whole life, honestly. I met with black
you.
people who were in so-called positions of power, but when it came to certain things, they had no power. I just thought the shit was just, whew. Go ahead,
The way
Khadijah.
the government really works is above all of our pay grade. Apparently not, Javon. Some people have inside scoop on how the government works. They're in all these private meetings. Keep also in mind that you have a wealth of experience at your disposal between all of us. I would ask that we look into all of
Yes,
us to share what we are all doing to draw upon everyone's experiences. We would be surprised what we all bring to the conversation. And I would like, and
I
I think
agree.
that's great, but I think people that should be across the board. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but I always feel like that's kind of like classism when we act like, well, I know better because I make more money
I
than all
know.
y'all.
I've
Like
been
we
a
do
part of
that as
that.
people,
You've been a part that they
which is
let the
why
niggas in
these people
on. You ain't been a part of it. You see the part that they allow you to see.
okay,
The Federal Reserve in Israel run rolls per strings. Yeah, they're class. Girl, I'm so used to
yeah, I don't
classism
think
that
people really understand what
that's
that
why my
means.
fuse be short than a
Yeah,
motherfucker when
but
it
I
come to
just feel like
classism,
that
or
part of
people trying to
that's
talk
that
down like
classism. And
somebody
my
dumb.
thing is,
My fuse is short as shit and it blows up.
yeah, I just know all the times that we went to that Capitol, Do you know who gave us access to get us into the Capitol? It was a Republican senator from the Bay Area. I believe he was a assemblyman or J. You remember. And even though y'all was in that heated debate, I mean, he actually returned phone calls and allowed us to do that. I didn't get that kind of help from the people who look like us. Just
Hmm.
saying. So I just feel like we gotta like not discount other people's experience and what government has done for them. And we kind of do that. Some black people kind of do that. We really shouldn't do that. We should treat us the way you would treat a white
Javon,
supremacist. You will be trying to get a white
Javon coming
supremacist
with.
to understand. You would. What you say?
She said, "I
I
know
know.
hood instinct. They, the government, ain't like us. That's real life. That's real life. That's why I'm not sitting here trying to cap for nobody. I at times get discredited because be know me mostly personally, but people do not know what I have experienced and bring. So I ask that we meet to share. That way we can understand where we all come from. And vice versa, Tasha. I agree with that. People don't know you personally, don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you've
get you.
experienced and what you can bring to the table. I agree with that. Exactly, Rolanda. There is an air of arrogance in the atmosphere, girl, and it's an air of uppity in the
Yes,
atmosphere. I don't
yes,
fucking do uppity
yes.
because
Be
people did uppity
still.
to my mama, and I don't do uppity at all. Period. That's why I'm a black woman, not a person of color, or suffer the instincts, or suffer the
Okay.
consequences.
Right. I just feel like that's why I started off talking about colorism. This funny thing is
And
we didn't necessarily talk about colorism. I mean colorism and classism, but that classism is what happens when the elite black people try to tell black
mm-hmm,
people who are not elite what how they should feel, think, and do based upon some policies like affirmative action was a policy, but the white woman benefited
mm,
most off affirmative action, not
that
black
part.
people. See, that's a fact. And then people talk about that. But for some reason, we just gonna skip over all of that. And we gotta stop doing that. We just gotta
It is
stop doing
all
it. We have to
education.
start treating black people the way we treat white people who we think don't like us. We bend over
Mm-hmm.
backwards. We talk to them with kindness and respect. We make them feel included. We try to understand where they're coming from. You know how y'all do that to Karen when Karen be doing dumb shit, and y'all be like trying to get Karen to understand. And
That's
hey,
just
Karen,
Karen.
this is my job. I belong here. Yeah, we need to realize. Go ahead, Khadijah.
That we don't have real access to. We don't have real access to shit in the government. We learned about the three branches of government in junior high and elementary school. But that don't mean we know what really go on
Important
behind
too.
them walls and them meetings with these people that are in these positions. Like, get the hell out of here. Please, miss me with the bull crap.
I
Please,
also listened
the
to
hell out of
tapes that
here.
they released now with Lyndon Johnson called people and they talked about black people like a goddamn dog. But we forget that people have conversations like that. Because we ain't do shit like that. We have conversations with people but on the phone, even though they can't support you in public, but they still on the phone with you.
Hmm.
We just, I just feel like all of that is I want people to think and I want black people to be just as diverse as we like to claim we are, even though we say we're not all the same, but we act like we all the same. And I'm just
We
saying
like
that
to
young
be
sister that got up spoke. Go ahead.
we like to be diverse as long as you just like us. Did that
Mm,
go over your head? They don't mind you being diverse as long as you just like us.
right. I'm with you, Tasha. I'm gonna try to. If you can work with me to make this happen, I think we should do a Zoom call, like the real Zoom call, not the Zoom call. We all gonna back somebody, but I ain't got none of my needs met. I don't want to be on calls like that. I
That
do
part.
not want to be on calls like that. We're gonna talk about the agenda. Like for me, the homelessness with black community, period. But black women, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that because I work with them a lot. Like and my heart goes out. But I don't never see that on the agenda. I don't see that on the agenda.
It's unfortunate that you feel that way because I never once said how you should feel or what you know. Just like I don't know you, you don't know me because I am in a lot of those rooms. Congratulations. Tasha, yeah, I think that would be great to get a Zoom call to be able to come together and talk about some other things. And homeless is definitely on there for me, but this is the black femicide for me. We got to
Okay.
address that, and we
Yeah,
have
that
to
too.
address the police killing black people because that's way more bigger. That's and we can't call 911 to get help, and we just getting murdered. Like that's something needs to be addressed.
Omega, I feel like I will say that I feel like um I feel like we have to figure out as a people how to talk and interface with each other where we're not sounding like your views or what you know is somehow not correct because it don't come off the way yours is. Because people do this stuff. Like when my uncle gave me that piece of advice, I have been seeing that my whole life when he said they will never make a law that will convict them. I've been seeing them do that my whole life. Like we just seen that happen the whole world. So I just feel like it's okay for us to be trained and to know what we know, but it's also okay to look at it through a reality lens. Like and I feel like sometimes it feel like we don't do that for each other. We feel like we just come at black folks like this is the way it is, and instead of saying like if I was a white woman who was a flat out Looney Tune, I'm pretty sure the tone would be a little bit more. I'm gonna nurture this person. I'm gonna make this. We don't do that to each other. That's why most times black folks is ready to get in each other's asses because we don't do that with each other, but we'll do that for the open enemy or someone who may appear to be an open enemy because we think like maybe they don't know. And it gets soft because we got to make sure. And I don't know if that's a part of if I don't do this to this person, they may hurt me. I don't know what that comes from. I really don't. Calling it ignorant or not, I always want to share my truth. And I
Call it
like that. That's why I
arrogant.
love that you're on here. Yeah, huh? Call it, did I
She
say
said
arrogant?
call it arrogant, not ignorant. Yeah, you said ignorant, arrogant.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Khadijah. Okay, so that's all. And I know you with our people, and I know you want us to win. That's why I think we should all get on a Zoom call because I think we can all learn a lot from each other. I swear to God. I watch a lot of um uh 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 talks and whatever. I never see people be on there from the opposite side where they can actually hear each other. And I'm really concerned about that. I can put one together and meet. I can put one together a meeting. Yes, Tasha, let's do that. I'm dead ass serious. Omega, no hard feelings. Okay, go ahead, Kitty. I'll let you read it.
Oh,
I'll
Mega,
get
no
out
hard
the way.
feelings. I'm saying that if it was all good in the rooms, we wouldn't still be in this situation. Democrats have ran California since forever. We are still being murdered, still facing a huge income gap, still facing great disparities in wealth, health, education, etc. Exactly what is happening in those rooms. The entire reason I'm in school, actually finished school, which I did last night. Congratulations, Tasha. My goal is to be able to better
Yay!
communicate amongst us. We treat each other more harsh than any other ethnicity, as if we have to suit up for war and conversation. This shouldn't be that way. Sometimes you do have to suit up in war and conversations, and because people will run all over you or they'll diminish your opinion and your perspective. So sometimes we do have to suit up for war because thoughts are things, and you can't just say anything that you think to me. Those rooms are working to make sure my middle schooler can go to school, pick a gender, and not tell me what is happening with my child. Those rooms are dangerous, very much so.
Wow. All right, y'all. We've been in this goddamn thing going on 2 hours. Okay, so look, and Omega, I hope you're still on here, sis. I'm dead serious. I hopefully we could get on the Zoom call. I'm not bullshitting. I'm so serious because I
Well, I
think
can't wait
all
to
of us
hear
have a
about it.
lot to share. All of us have a lot to share. I just know when it comes to this black experience, we got to make sure that you either say I'm representing this fraction of the black experience, um, because I really think that we don't do that. We act like black people think and do things one way. You know what I mean?
Javon said, I am done with those rooms. A team do for self. What did Tasha say?
You
But we
know something
have to
about that.
stay in it if we are truly about black people. Stay in where? The room? Stay in where, Tasha? Good night. Love y'all. Good night, Javon. Love you too.
Okay.
I wish I could get some of them watermelons because we had the watermelons in Sacramento suck right now. They are horrible. Peace, Javon.
And Tanya and Tina, we didn't hear a lot from you tonight, but we definitely want you to be in on that call. I just feel like we
Absolutely.
gotta have the real call. I feel like instead of us calling out for people when we want to support somebody, we should do the call and find out what the needs are. I'm concerned,
Stay in
stay in the
conversation.
conversation.
Got you.
Right on. I'm concerned that we want people to get behind people, but we don't want to address the needs that we're asking the people that you're asking
Get
something
behind.
from. Like I just feel like there has to be a real, this, yes, a real
A real
conversation.
conversation. It's not all good in the rooms. I'm not saying because I'm in some of those rooms, things are all good. I'm saying that we can use the information to build a strategy. Got
I'm
it.
with that. I'm so with that.
Yes, please send me the link.
Okay. All right, y'all. We really jumping off of here. Listen, Khadijah, any closing words? Because we got to jump
I
off
would
of here,
like
girl. I
to
got.
thank everybody for their opinion. Omega, you as well, because I love someone who, speaks their mind. So I appreciate you being on this Sunday
Yes,
Sitting with
ma'am.
Sisters. Tasha, I feel like I talk to you every day because we're in that group text. but and I'm just grateful for everybody tuning in. And sometimes I am a little harsh because I'm passionate about what I say and I'm passionate about how I feel just as well as others. But I would say you guys try to have a very great week. Do something special for yourself on purpose because you definitely deserve it.
Peace, family. Tasha, I'll send you a text because I got your number in the group text.
I holla.